So for today we're going to be talking about quadratic functions. Now, a quadratic function is a function that has an x squared as the highest term. That means there can be no x cubes or x to the fourth powers. It can only go as high as x to the second power. The coefficient with the x squared does not have to be the largest term, just that the largest term is an x squared. First, what we're going to do is determine whether each function is linear or quadratic, then identify the quadratic, linear, and constant terms. So here's our first term. Y equals 3x minus 5. In this case, because there is no x squared, it is a linear term, which means there are no quadratic terms. Now our linear term in this case would be the 3x, and our constant would be the negative 5. For this next problem, what we have to do is we have to first distribute the 3x. So 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 5 is 15x. In this case, it is a quadratic. And our quadratic term would be 3x squared. Our linear would be 15x. And our constant would be none because there are no constants. Here's our final one. For this one, we're going to want a FOIL. For a reminder, FOIL means first. So x times x is x squared. Then outside or outer, so x times 4 is plus 4x. Inside or inner, so that is minus 2x. And then finally, last, so negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. At that point, we get x squared, and then we have to add in the 4 and the minus 2 to become plus 2x minus 8. So our quadratic term in this case is x squared, our linear, 2x, and our constant, negative 8. The graph of a quadratic function is what we call a parabola. Oh, there it is. The vertex is the maximum or minimum point on the parabola. And the axis of symmetry is the vertical line that goes through the center of the graph or through the vertex. It's always going to end up being x equals the x value of our vertex. So we're going to identify the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and the domain and range. So our vertex in this case is right here, and that is at 0, 1, which means our axis of symmetry is x equals 0, because this would be the line that it's on. Our domain, it goes all the way to the left forever, and it goes all the way forever to the right, which means negative infinity to infinity. And our range would be that it starts and meets at 1, and then it goes to infinity. Let's try another. Here we go. Our vertex right here is at negative 3, negative 1. The axis of symmetry is going to be at x equals negative 3. The domain is once again going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. And the range in this case would be it starts at negative 1 and goes up forever, meaning infinity. If it had been a negative graph, in other words, one pointing down, we would have gone from negative infinity to 1, to negative 1. Okay, parabolas are symmetrical, so the axis of symmetry is the same distance from both sides. So in this case, this would be our axis of symmetry. Every point on the parabola has a corresponding point on the other side. For the following parabola, identify the points corresponding to P and Q. So in this case, if you look, P is right here at negative 3, negative 1. The corresponding point is just the same distance on the other side, so right here. So P prime is -1, -1. Similarly, Q prime, I would just go the other way. It's a reflection. So since this went 2 to the right to get there, I'll go 2 to the left, which means here is my Q prime, and that is at -4, 2. All right, standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. We're going to see that later when we move on. In order to graph or rewrite a quadratic equation that is in standard form, we have to first find the vertex. The formula to find the x part of the vertex is x equals -b over 2a. Once we find that value for x, we plug it in and get y. And once we have our vertex, we can transform to the standard form of the equation by writing y equals a found from the standard form, times x minus h squared plus k. Here's an example word problem. Suppose you're tossing an apple up to a friend on a third-story balcony. After t seconds, the height of the apple is given by this equation. H equals -16t plus 38.4t plus 0.96. Your friend catches the apple just as it reaches its highest point. How long does it take the apple to reach your friend? And at what point and at what height is the apple above the ground at this point? So the first thing that we need to do is realize that t is the equivalent to x and h is the equivalent to y. At which point that means t would equal -b over 2a, just like x does. So at that point that means -38.4 over 2 times -16. Now if I put this in a calculator, I have to be careful so that I don't accidentally do divided by 2 times 16, which sometimes can occur. So in this case, let's try this. When I plug that into a calculator, I'll get that t equals 1.2. Now I just plug those into my equation. -16, 1.2 squared plus 38.4 times 1.2 plus 0.96. And when I add all those together, my height is going to be 24. So it took 1.2 seconds to go up 24 feet. We'll be back right after this. Zeke is a professional skater. If the shape of the radical halfpipe he's using has an equation of, you know what, this equation doesn't matter. The real question is, what soft drink does Zeke love? And of course he loves Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew also available in Mountain Dew Code Red, Mountain Dew Voltage, Mountain Dew Live Wire, Mountain Dew Whiteout, Mountain Dew Pitch Black, Mountain Dew USA, and Mountain Dew Baja Blast, only available at Taco Bell. Not enough? Try Mountain Dew Kickstart, Mountain Dew Black Label, Mountain Dew White Label, Mountain Dew Green Label, and Mountain Dew Spiked with lemonade. Not enough still? Try Amped Energy, energy with a hint of dew. Mountain Dew, do the dew. Also, try Mountain Dew Throwback. It's Mountain Dew with pure cane sugar. Yahoo! This is only a joke and should not be construed as an advertisement for Mountain Dew. All right, we're now going to rewrite the following standard form quadratic equations in vertex form. Here's our first one. Y equals -2x minus 4x, 2x squared minus 4x minus 5. So remember, the first thing I need to remember is that x equals -b over 2a. So that means negative of -4 over 2 times -2. So that means 4 over -4, which means our vertex is going to start off with x being -1. Now to find y, what I have to do is I have to plug that in. So -2 times negative 1 squared minus 4 times negative 1 minus 5. Now negative 1 squared is just 1, so negative 2 times 1 is just negative 2. This becomes plus 4 minus 5, which means my y value is negative 3. Now I just have to plug it into my into vertex form. Reminder, vertex form is y equals a times x minus h, h, by the way, being the x value in the vertex, plus k, which is the y value in the vertex. So at that point, y equals, our a value is negative 2 times x minus, in this case, negative 1, so that becomes plus 1 squared, plus negative 3, so minus 3. Now let's try this one right here. In this case, remember I do negative 8 divided by 2 times, and in this case, our a value is just 1. So that becomes positive 8 divided by 2, which means our vertex, in this case, starts out at 4. So then I plug that in. 4 squared is 16, minus 8 times 4 is 32, plus 21. 16 minus 32 is negative 16, plus 21 gives us 5. So then I just plug that in. Y equals, remember a is 1, so I'm not going to write that, and I'm just going to say x minus 4 squared plus 5. Okay, let's try this. In this case, negative b, so negative 6 over 2 times negative 1, because our a is negative 1 if it says negative x squared. That means our vertex starts out at 3. At that point, I plug it in. Negative of 3 squared, well, 3 squared is 9, so that becomes negative 9. Please note, if it was going to be the other way, we would have put parentheses around the negative x, but we did not. Plus, in this case, 3 times 6 is 18, minus 3. So let's see, negative 9 plus 18 is positive 9, minus 3 is 6. So at that point, I just put these into my equation. Y equals, remember, our a value is negative 1, so negative x minus 3 squared plus 6. One final equation in this case, I need to find, remember, it's negative b divided by 2 times a. So 2 times 3 is 6. Negative 12 divided by 6 is negative 2. So now let's do this. Negative 2 squared is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus, in this case, negative 2 times 12 is minus 24 minus 9. So 12 minus 24 is negative 12. Minus 9 is negative 21. At which point, y equals 3 times x plus 2 squared minus 21. And that's how we do these. Thank you very much. Have a good day.